common topics today.
All right.
Some of the things that we're going to talk about is education. I'm going to ask you some questions about education, and I want you to state your opinion about the question. Okay?
Okay.
All right. If you do not understand anything, just let me know, and I will explain it in more detail. Okay?
All right.
Okay. First question is, how important is education to an individual?
I think education is like a way that we're made to like cultivate this, particularly to the student, like in basic cultivated.
How is education important to a modern economy?
Education is like conclude a lot of like subjects, like even in modern economy topics. So it should particularly to like about a economic subject or business or something like that. So students will learn about it and then will develop the country in the future.
What are the drawbacks of education?
So what is a drawback?
So a drawback is a negative.
Negative.
Correct. So if I was to restate that question, it would be, what are the negative effects of education?
The negative of education, like that's a hard one. Negative. It should be like some people think like education. Some people think is like a waste of time. Like it's conclude like some subject that some people doesn't want it that much, and then they have to learn it. So it's kind of waste of time for them sometimes.
So what I want you to do is I want you to really think about the answers, okay? So
Okay.
for example, if I was to answer that question, what are the drawbacks of education? My answer would be, in my opinion, the drawbacks of education is the lack of excitement in the classroom and the lack of technology available to the teachers.
Oh, something like that. Okay, I got it.
So let me ask you that question again. What are the drawbacks of education?
From in my opinion, the drawback of education would be like when in the education, like lack of the like a fun or some excitement thing in the classroom.
What is the biggest problem of the Thai education system?
I think the biggest issues right now is like I think one day we have like too much class, but one day like 8 period per day. I think it's too much, and then that 8 period is not like conclude any activities. So that 8 period is all academic, and then if you want to do some activities like a sport or treat or music or something like that, you have to do like after school. So like that's gonna take long. It's gonna be a long day for a student in the school.
Okay. So what you're stating is the biggest problem of the Thai education system is the classes are prolonged throughout the day.
Yep.
And any extracurricular activities you have to do outside of
like
school hours. Right?
Yes, sir.
So do you see how I kind of structured that sentence?
Yep, yeah, you use like more lexical.
I want you to work on that with me, okay? If you have trouble finding the words, just ask me and I will help you out to find the correct word, okay?
Okay.
Okay. How important is a degree in one's life?
What is that supposed to mean?
A degree is a college education such as a bachelor's, master's, or a doctorate degree.
And in one's like?
In one's life. So how important is a degree in one's life? Let me ask you the question in a different way. How important is a education certification in one's life?
What? Sorry, I got the first one, but what is the one's like? Like.
So, in your life, how important is it?
Oh, life. I thought it's like it's life.
Life.
Yeah.
So
like
how important is a college degree in one's life?
I think like like each person, they will have a different way of the achievement in the future, right? About their job, their career. So like different career will ask you like different what's that, the resume and the education degree. So some people don't need like to be master degree. Some people just need bachelor degree, that's enough, so they can get into work. Yeah.
So what I want you to do is kind of stop yourself from using like too much, because when you don't understand, when you cannot come up with the words, I noticed that you're using like.
Yeah.
So and don't worry, it's kind of a nervous thing. I do the same thing, but what I do is I pause for a second to find the word I'm looking for instead of trying to force the words.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
yeah.
if I was to answer that question, I would say a degree is very important in one's life because it will help them advance their career and it looks good on a professional resume to employers.
That's a good answer, yeah.
So, but what I'm doing is I'm finding two topics that I want to talk about for each answer. Just two things. I think what you're trying to do is find too many things to answer, but just focus on answering with two topics, okay?
Yep.
Okay. Can you explain the pros and the cons of exams?
I'm sorry, what?
Can you explain the pros and the cons of exams?
Exam. Pros. What is pros and cons? Like
Pros are
positive.
And
okay.
Cons are negative.
Oh, all right. And you explain the pros and cons of exam. All right. I think the exams will be positive, like to make an assessment for students, so teacher will know that what a problem for of the student in their own subject. And the negative thing is some student might get nervous before the test, and then they will like lack of confidence to do a test.
Okay, awesome, better. What are other possible ways of assessment?
Another possible way, I think you can make a question in the class and then ask students about it instead of make a real exams. Just ask student in the classroom, what is your problem? Like when you study with them, yeah, something.
So what you're talking about is a group discussion.
Okay.
So some other possible ways of assessment would be a group discussion.
Group discussion, yeah.
So let me ask you that question again. What are some other possible ways of assessment?
I think other ways to make an assessments in the class, I think teacher can make a small group discussion in the classroom and then make an argument about it with the students, so they can exchange an idea of the education in the classroom and improve it.
Awesome answer.
Oh yeah, it's better when I'm not saying like.
And so let me explain this to you. When you say like, it's your mind. It's a defense mechanism. When you get nervous, you say like. So instead of saying like, I want you to pause and give yourself just that extra little bit of time to think of your answer. Okay?
Yeah, I think I'm familiar with it. Like I said it a lot when I were in Texas.
Well, just as long as you recognize it, then eventually you'll be able to stop yourself from life.
Yeah, I will try to avoid it.
Which is the determining factor in work performance, experience, or qualification?